because I was seeing it in my head, you know. I can't explain it, but it really felt like it was happening on the left. And I really did not know what was happening. I stood up, I took a deep breath, I kind of swung my head around and it wouldn't go away. Now my son was home downstairs, and he was home from college for the winter break, and he's 19. He was not exactly the person that I wanted to have around for this, because, you know, I would have preferred if my husband were home. But that's not how it went. So I needed to, like, you know, take hold of myself to a certain extent. You know, I couldn't go berserk. I tried to Google it first. I couldn't see my phone though. Like, I looked at it, but it was just the circle, the rainbow circle, and the gray, and I'm like, oh my god. Like, I am going blind. Like, what is this? I have, like, flashbacks of Little House on the Prairie. Like, what happened to Mary? Or whatever. So, I calmed myself and I started walking down the stairs. I called his name and I said, listen, there's something wrong with my eye. I'm having a problem. I was saying to him, I need you to Google it. Google what's happening. And I took out a piece of paper and I started drawing what I saw. Even though I couldn't see what I was drawing. Literally, like, that's how bad it was. It was like just that big blob. It was just in the middle of my vision, no matter what. He's trying to look it up. And like I said, it was like 4:30. sent me into the room for the doctor to come. If this story is long and boring, I apologize, but maybe it'll help you sleep. So, anyway, doctor comes in. I can't see her at all. That's the first thing I said. I said hi, because she's like, hi, I'm Dr. Whoever. It wasn't my doctor, you know. You can't expect to see your doctor when it's an emergency, right? I'm Dr. Whoever. Okay, I said, I just want you to know I can't see anything. I took out my contacts and I can't even really see you. So if I'm looking funny, that's why. And I told her that about 2 or 3 years ago, in that same eye, I had what was diagnosed as a vitreous humor detachment. Vitreous detachment, something like that. Which means that, like, I hope this isn't gross, like you know the stuff in your eye that makes it keep its shape? That's the vitreous humor. It's connected in the back of your eye. Well, it came somewhat disconnected one day a few years ago, which caused me to see like a gray, like, veil across my eye for like a couple of minutes. Nothing like this one, okay? Wasn't no rainbow circles. I wasn't blinded. It was completely different, but I mean, it could be related. So I told her that. Of course, I had been seen at that office, but it doesn't even matter. Like, they never look at the notes ever. And she looked at my eyes, and she said, yeah, I think that's what it was again. She's like, but come back in 2 weeks. We have to check it again, because when you get a vitreous detachment, it can tear the retina in the process. But it was too early to see if the retina had torn. That's what she said, okay? And if the retina tears, you need surgery. She wasn't saying that she thought the retina had torn. She was just saying, come back in 2 weeks, we have to make sure. I'm like, okay. So, I could go out, get an appointment card, you'll see this same person again, blah, 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 da, da, da. I leave. I look at the card. Did I put my contacts back in? Yeah, I put my contacts back in before I left. And I look at the card, and I see that she's not an ophthalmologist. Now, I'm not trying to be snobby or anything like that, but I wanted to see an ophthalmologist because it's like a serious eye situation. And I don't know, like, I guess they employ one optometrist there. You know, maybe to pick up some of the extra work, you know, especially in the evenings. Now, I know that an optometrist is also a doctor, like they are called doctor, and they do have to go to a lot of schooling, but it's not an definition of